Pleasant afternoon, everyone. I am Erica Yanong from Group 3 Pipiliin Kalagi. Today, we will discuss the rationale for evaluation, resistance to training evaluation, types of evaluation data collected, the validity issues, and the key areas of organization training. Before we start, let us first put ourselves in the presence of the Lord.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Ms. Arikayanam. Once again, good afternoon, everyone. Our topic for today is about training evaluation. Before we go deeper about evaluation, let us first get to know if ano nga ba si evaluation. Okay, let me share with you a quote or a saying that James Kirkpatrick once said. Evaluation is not an afterthought to training, but rather is meant to be integrated into the entire learning and development process. So, unsa bang message na gusto ipaabot ni James Kirkpatrick? So, ang evaluation daw is not an afterthought. Meaning, dili na daw na siya huna-hunaon pagkahuman na sa training. Meaning, si evaluation daw is integrated. Pasabot sa integrated is part na daw siya sa training and development process. So, evaluation is always there. Next, let us define what is training evaluation. It is the organized method of gathering and analyzing data in order to enhance your training. Evaluation gives feedback to assist you in determining if your training met the company's objectives and helps in making choices regarding future trainings. It is an important part of any organization's training culture. By evaluating training experiences, it is essential to ensure that training is being given in a quality way that is beneficial to the organization. So, si evaluation daw, kay isa siya ka way para mag-gather of information, data, para mapa-improve pa ang inyong training. So, kato siya ng mga data, maka-help to siya para maka-identify ninyo if na-attain ba ang mga objectives o mga goals na giset ninyo before pa ang training. Maka-help to siya para sa inyong sa sunod pa ninyo ng mga training na inyong i-organize. So, importante dyan ang evaluation. So, dira ninyo mahibalaan kung effective ba ang training na inyong i-conduct. So, okay, to really understand that evaluation has significance, here are some reasons why training evaluation could be beneficial. A few reasons include, number 1, boosting the chances that the program's aims and objectives will be met. So, as what I have said earlier, by conducting evaluation, mahibalaan ninyo kung ang inyong mga goals o ang inyong mga objectives na giset before ang training kay na-attain. Number 2, determining cost effectiveness. Meaning, ang mga gialat ba ninyo ng mga resources para ka na program is nasulit ba ninyo? Nasulit ba sa company? Or nasulit ba sa inyong mga clients? Number 3, assessing which part of a program work and which do not and why. So, by conducting evaluation is mahibalaan ninyo kung asa dapit sa program ang dili effective or meaning dili siya necessary or dili mag-get sa mga participants. Number 4, identify key areas that require improvements in order to deliver the best solution possible. So, meaning, by conducting evaluation, ma-identify dayon ninyo kung asa dapit sa program ang need of improvement, kung asa na part ba, para hatagan dayon na siya o agarang solution. Solusyonan dayon ninyo siya. Next are the common evaluation challenges. Among the most typical hurdles to doing a successful evaluation are lack of management support. So, if ever ang inyong evaluation is dili siya guided sa mga supervisor, managers, and other senior officials, na ay tendency na ang inyong pag-conduct sa evaluation, dili mo makareceive og support, dili mo makareceive og necessary na mga resources para makandak ang evaluation properly. Next is the lack of skills and resources. Lack of skills and resources in collecting, analyzing, and interpreting of data. So, naay tendency pag-lack ang mga skills o resources, kulang o incomplete ang mga data or ang mga results sa inyong evaluation. Next is the lack of relevant data. So lack of relevant data can render the evaluation useless. So if ever nagbuhat-buhat na mo sarili ninyong evaluation para sa training, na ay tendency na ang mga data na inyong makuha is unnecessary. For example, gi-apil ninyong sulat sa inyong evaluation kay happy ba ka karon? Are you happy? Or gibutang ba ninyo dito nga what is your ulam gahapon? Or so, di ba? Irrelevant kaayo ang mga data. Next, and last, is the fear of consequences. So, fear that the results of evaluation will suggest or recommend elimination of or significant changes to the initiative will often become a detriment to the process. So, meaning, naay tendency pag magkanda kong evaluation is ang mga participant magduha-duha. Magduha-duha sila kung magtuan ba sila tinuod. Kaya naay tendency nga matanggal sila sa trabaho. Di ba? Hala, mag-ingon ba akong tinuod? Kay pag ingon akong tinuod, diba, bas natanggal ko. Ana, ang una mga fears ng mga participants mag-conduct of evaluation. Lastly is ensuring appropriate evaluation. A successful assessment may be developed by encouraging workers and involved stakeholders to take part in the development process, establishing the scope and objective of the evaluation clear from the beginning, and giving enough assistance from the supervisors and executives. The development of appropriate and simple evaluation tools will indeed guarantee that the program operate much more effectively. So to wrap it up, para mahimong successful ang evaluation, dapat maki-involve ang mga workers or ang mga ang mga stakeholders, mga managers sa pag-develop sa evaluation. So in that way, ma-ensure ninyo na makuha ninyo kung unsa jud inyong gusto na mahitabo or unsa inyong gusto na ma-receive ng mga feedback gikan sa inyong participants sa training. Would be all in the rationale.
Thank you so much, Hazel, for a clear and concise explanation about the rationale for training evaluation. Now, let us proceed to resistance to training evaluation. But first, let me define again the training evaluation. It is a systematic process of collecting information and using that information to improve the training. So, training evaluation, ginagamit natin siya for us to have or to collect feedback from trainees and trainers para makabalota if the program is effective pa siya, sufficient ba siya, na-achieve ba ang intended outcomes. Yes. Now let us proceed to examples of training evaluation. So you can see, the examples of training evaluation is training evaluation form. It is a kind of tool that is used by HR professionals para makakollect of feedbacks from trainees and trainers. So, let me just give an example. Kanang sa school, guys, kabantay mo, every after sa ilang program, they are conducting evaluation form para fill upan sa mga students. And what is the use of that evaluation form? Para makabalo sila if organized ba yung program na na-conduct nila, kung naa pa ba'y mga improvements kailangan, or na-enjoy ba siya sa students, okay ba ang program nila, ingana siya, guys. So, just like in training evaluation, guys, we are conducting training evaluation through the use of training evaluation form para makabalota if ang training program is effective ba siya. Effective ba siya or meron pa bang kailangan i-improve. Let us proceed to types of evaluation. So, naatay formative evaluation and summative evaluation. Now, for the formative evaluation, guys, it occurs while a training program is forming or occurring. So, gina-evaluate ang learners within the days of training or in the midpoint sa ilahang training, ingana si formative evaluation. Kasi, ang gina-measure sa formative evaluation is kung unsa or how the learners learned. So, unsa ang way para makatuon sila, unsa nga style, unsa nga klase nga training program ang mas mo effect sa ila para makatuon sila. And why we're conducting this one? It analyzes the strengths and weaknesses towards improving as well as collecting feedbacks. We can know through formative evaluation makabaluta unsa ang strengths sa trainees. Mas makabaluta kung mas diri day sila mas uyon, diri sila mas hawd, diri sila mas interesado, mas naa sila ma-learn ani nga kind of training program. Tapos sa weaknesses naman dili day sila uyon ani, dili day ni effective nga kind of program para sa ilaha. Ganon si formative evaluation. Now on the other hand naman si summative evaluation, so it takes place after the training program has occurred. So pag human na sa training, once the training has reached its completion, for instance 1 week ang training program, si formative evaluation, gina-evaluate ang learners within the day sa training. Now, sa summative evaluation naman, gina-evaluate sila pag human na jud sa training, pag human na sa tibuok training. Nagets ba guys? So when at the end of the course, as what I've said, and why for document achievement and for evidence of regular formative evaluation. Did you know guys, ang summative evaluation, it can actually help para sa judgment if makaingon ta if sufficient pa ang program or hindi. It's because, as what I've said, gina-evaluate mo gani siya after na sa program. So, makabalota if sufficient ba yung program or hindi, or what are the things you need to improve. Para magamit natin yung those conclusion na ato ang na-conclude after sa summative evaluation for future trainings. Okay, nasabtan. The difference lang sa formative and summative evaluation is si formative evaluation, it is designed to measure how the learners is learning. Now, on the other hand naman, si summative evaluation is, it is designed to measure how much the learners learned. So, kung unsa kadaghan ang ilahang natunan. Okay, nasabtan ang difference nila. Okay, now let us proceed to resistance to training evaluation, and that will be discussed by Nelly Bell.
So, before we proceed, I want to thank Kyla Micorosa for her amazing and comprehensible explanation on the training evaluation. And now, let us proceed to resistance to training evaluation and what are the different ways to overcome resistance to training evaluation. Resistance to training evaluation, from the word resistance, it is defined as a refusal to give in or to something that slows down or prevents something. So there are some reasons that employees or the trainees who undergo training resist to training evaluation, and here are the two reasons. First is that there is nothing to evaluate, because for some companies, training is simply for good performance or something that is mandated so everyone has to attend. The argument here is that training is not expected to accomplish anything, so there is nothing to evaluate. Second, no one really cares about evaluating training. The most common rationale for not conducting training evaluation is that formal evaluation procedures are too expensive and time-consuming, and no one really cares anyway. This explanation usually means that no one specifically asked for, demanded, or otherwise indicated a need for assessment for training outcomes. So, to solve that problems, there are different ways to overcome resistance to training evaluation, and these are: first is that the employees or trainees should be made aware that every training program is designed with some goals or objectives in mind. So it means that once these goals or objective is identified, it can be measured. Evaluation is simply measuring the degree to which objectives are achieved. It also helps you identify if your training achieved your intended outcomes, and also helps you make decisions about your future trainings. So second, and some type of knowledge, skills, and attitude change is expected from the participants. So this means that Knowledge, skills, and attitudes are all the three elements put together to form a successful formula in an organization. It is a well-known fact that any person with a remarkable blend of all the above mentioned three characteristics will come out as a human being with lots of intelligence, leadership qualities, and some mentoring abilities for the employees or trainees. And the last one is that while long-term results are important in making business decisions, the day-to-day purpose of evaluation should be used as feedback mechanism to guide efforts to reward success. This means that evaluation is making a judgment about something or someone with little or no intention of changing any aspects or behaviors and is intended to be summative. Feedback, on the other hand, is providing formative information to improve performance, regardless of the current performance, and it is participatory for the learner, and also it provides positive criticism and allows to see what everyone can change to improve their focus and results. And also, it brings people together and creates a healthy communication flow.
So let's proceed to the types of evaluation data collected. What is evaluation data collection? Evaluation is an ongoing process that you will use to identify program strengths and needs and make continuously improvements. Evaluation involves collecting data pertinent to your program's goals and analyzing that data to determine if your program is achieving the goals. Types of evaluation data collected. Here are the commonly used methods in evaluation. Document analysis is the most common form of data collection because it involves a gathering of existing documents and records. Begin this process by collecting your own program's records and taking inventory of the collected data. You can supplement your own data with documents from partners, local, regional, and national agencies. So next is survey. Surveys are probably the most recognized and popular form of data collection because they provide an easy way to collect a lot of information at once in a systematic and standardized way. Surveys ask the same question in the same way for every study participant. Surveys are effective tools for collecting data for various sample sizes, small to large. Surveys can be conducted at a single point in time or can be given over time as a pre- and post-assessment or continuously as a formative assessment. Interviews. Interviews are commonly used to collect qualitative data through oral questioning and response. Interviews are helpful in collecting participants' feelings, thoughts, beliefs, opinion about a topic. The type of approaches to conducting interviews are varied, and you should determine which is best for your project needs and most suited to your interviewer's style.
So thank you for that, Carol. So the four types of evaluation data collected is observations. Observations are useful in capturing data through recorded direct observations of people, places, or things. When observing people, be sure to take note of their characteristics, interactions with others, speech, and nonverbal behaviors. Before observing, it is important to define what you're looking for. Observations are a useful collection method when you want to view direct information. Physical and observable evidence exists that you want to collect data examine. Written or self-reported data are inappropriate. And lastly, when you are seeking to understand an ongoing process or behavior. Things you can observe are program participants, program staff, physical surroundings, and program artifacts and products. So the fifth type of evaluation data collected is focus groups. Focus groups are group discussions led by a facilitator where participants are asked to talk about or react to a topic and or a question. Like interviews, focus groups generate qualitative data. In focus groups, participants are free to talk with one another and can support or disagree with each other's points. The interview approaches discussed previously can be used in focus group facilitation. Lastly,
The type of evaluation data collected is case studies. So case studies focuses on a particular unit, a person, a site, or a project. It often uses combination of quantitative and qualitative data. Case studies provide an in-depth and longitudinal examination of a specific individual, group, event, situation, behavior, program, or service. Case studies uses a combination of quantitative and qualitative data collection methods like document analysis, surveys, interviews, focus groups, and observations to fully explore and explain a particular thing. Case studies are becoming increasingly common in social science research and very useful in conducting education and program evaluation. Case studies are best when answering very broad or complex research questions, and the nature or cause of what is being studied and uncertain and ambiguous.
Validity issues of evaluation, understanding threats to validity. So, what is validity? Validity refers to the extent to which the results of an evaluation are supportable given the analytic methods used. Validity applies to the evaluation design, analytic methods, and data collection. So, you should examine the threats to validity and factors that might undermine the soundness of your claims, regardless of what your evaluation is, or whether you ask process or outcome evaluation questions. That is why minimizing threats to validity is an essential part of any evaluation. So, understanding the threats to validity will also help you better equip and utilize evaluation. Additionally, it will help and assist you to make sounder interpretations of evaluation results with the awareness of their limitations. So, threats to validity are also factors that might affect the level of believability of the evaluation outcomes and the extent of their generalization. So, let's go to the next slide. So there are two main types of validity, which are the internal validity and external validity. So internal validity is which relates to the result of an evaluation. At its most basic, internal validity involves asking whether the claims about the characteristics or effectiveness of a program are true and authentic. So, internal validity is an important feature as it provides the necessary confidence that the finding of the evaluation are the results of the training program and no other reasons. And the second type of validity is what we call external validity. External validity is the extent to which the evaluation results are generalizable to other groups of trainees and situations. So, an evaluation can have strong internal validity but not have external validity. However, an evaluation must have internal validity in order to have external validity. So, these two main types of validity are important concepts in training evaluation as they prove that its results or the results of an evaluation are meaningful and relevant. So, let's move to the next slide. So these are the threats to internal validity. There are 6 threats to internal validity, which are history, maturation, initial group differences, testing, instrumentation, and regression towards the mean. So first we have history. History event occurs producing changes in training outcomes. Second one, maturation. Changes in training outcomes result from trainees' physical growth or emotional state. Initial group differences. Training group differs from comparison group on individual differences that influence outcomes, knowledge, skills, ability, and behaviors. Testing. Trainees are sensitized to perform well on post-test measures. We also have instrumentation, trainee interpretation of outcomes changes over course of evaluation. And lastly, regression towards the mean. High and low scoring trainees move toward the middle or average on post-training measure. So threats to external validity, first we have reaction to pretest, reaction to evaluation, interaction of selection and training, and interaction of methods. First, we have reaction to pretest. Use of a test before training causes trainees to pay attention to material on the test. Second one, reaction to evaluation. Being evaluated causes trainees to try harder in training program. Third one, interaction of selection and training. Characteristics of trainees influence program effectiveness. And lastly, interaction of methods. Results of trainees who received different methods can be generalized only to trainees who receive same training in the same order. So next. So we also have methods to control for threats to validity. So first we have pre-tests and post-tests. Pre-test and post-tests comparison of the post-training and pre-training methods can indicate the degree to which trainees have changed as a result of training. So pre-test and post-test are used to measure knowledge gained from participating in a training course. The pre-test is a set of questions given to participants before the training begins in order to determine their knowledge level of the course content. And after the completion of the course, participants are given a post-test to answer the same set of questions. Comparing participants' post-test scores to their pre-test scores enables you to see whether the training was successful in increasing participants' knowledge of training content. Pre-test and post-test scores provide information on whether or not participants have learned from the training. In addition, a well-designed pre-test and post-test can help trainers understand which concepts or competencies were well taught during the training and which ones need additional time or need to be covered using alternative methods. So second, we have the use of comparison groups. Use of comparison groups, group of employees who participate in the evaluation study but do not attend the training program. And utilizing a comparison group in evaluation involves the identification of a group individuals assessed as being comparable to individuals in a participant group, but who have not been exposed to the services or interventions offered to program participants.
The key areas of organization training. First, we have orientation training. This is a procedure for providing new employees with basic background information about the firm, its culture, and the job. It involves starting the employee in the right direction. For some companies, orientation involves familiarizing new employees with the company's cherished goals and values. This beginning the process synthesizing the employees and company's goals, one big step toward winning and building commitment to the firm. Proper orientation can also help the employee get up to speed much more quickly. An effective orientation program has an immediate and lasting impact on the new employee and can make difference between his success or failure. Regardless of the type of organization, orientation should be conducted at two levels. First, the organizational or overview orientation. Here, topics discussed include overview of the company, key policies and procedure, compensation, benefits, safety and accident prevention, employees and union relation if there is any, physical facilities, and the like. The second level is the department and job-specific orientation. Here, topics are about the department function and the duties and responsibilities of the newly hired employee, policies, procedures, rules and regulations, tour of the department, and the introduction to department employee. The HR department and the new employee's immediate supervisor normally share responsibility for orientation. From a learning theory, we know that new learning is based on previous learning. So the best organization recognize that providing new employees with the information they need to understand and the organization in its expectations is a good investment. The effective orientation contributes to increased job stratification, job involvement, clear role understanding, and tenure. The second one, we have the diversity training. Diversity training is an ongoing process to educate employees on the proper way to treat people of different backgrounds. The main goal of a successful diversity training program is to create possible work environment. The purpose of diversity training is to increase participants' cultural awareness, knowledge, and communication. Diversity training can benefit an organization by helping to prevent civil rights violations, increasing the inclusion of different identified groups, and promoting better teamwork. The main goal of a successful diversity training program is to create a positive work environment by helping employees recognize and be tolerant of differences among coworkers. For diversity training to be effective, an organization should ensure the training program is an ongoing effort supported by top management. Here are the items that must be implemented so that diversity training is successful. We have the integrate training into organizational practices and goals, adopt specific definitions for workforce diversity, affirmative action, and equal employment opportunity, set up workforce diversity policies, establish a resource library for participants to use following the training. And lastly, identify non-training activities that will support lessons learned from the training, which include posters, staff meeting, newsletters, informational brochures, and videos. So diversity training is important because the diversity organization in life is fact. It helps the employee to understand how differences can be useful to an organizations. Also, organizations need to be effective in attracting, promoting, and retaining a diverse workforce in order to be competitive, to reduce costs, access to more market, and solve the problems that face it. The third one, we have sexual harassment training. Sexual harassment is any unwelcome sexual advance or conduct on the job that creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive working environment. Any conduct of a sexual nature that makes an employee uncomfortable has the potential to be sexual harassment. It is not surprising that sexual harassment comes in many forms. An example for this, we have a supervisor implies to an employee that the employee must sleep with him to keep a job. Sexual harassment is a gender-neutral offense, at least in theory. Men can sexually harass men. However, statistics shows that the overwhelming majority of sexual harassment claims and charges are brought by women claiming that they were sexually harassed by men. There are a number of steps that one can take to reduce the risk of sexual harassment occurring in a workplace like: first, we have adopt a clear sexual harassment policy. In your employee handbook, you should have a policy devoted to sexual harassment. The policy should define sexual harassment, state in no uncertain terms that you will not tolerate sexual harassment, state that you will discipline or fire any wrongdoers, set out a clear procedure for filing sexual harassment complaints, state that you will not tolerate retaliation against anyone who complains about sexual harassment. Next is to train your employees. At least once a year, conduct training sessions for employees. These sessions should teach employees what sexual harassment is, explain that employees have a right to a workplace free of sexual harassment, review your complaint procedure, and encourage employees to use it. Lastly, train supervisors and managers. At least once a year, conduct training sessions for supervisors and that are separate from the employee sessions. The sessions should educate the managers and supervisors about sexual harassments and explain how to deal with complaints. Participants will learn to identify, take action, and distinguish potential sexual harassment issues before they occur. Sexual harassment awareness is highly participatory seminar and focuses directly on improving skills to handle any sexual harassment issue or complaint with greater confidence. Next, we have team training. A team is a group of people with a full set of complementary skills required to complete a task, job, or project. Team members are those who operate with high degree of interdependence, share authority and responsibility for self-management, are accountable for collective performance, and work toward a common goal and shared reward. A team becomes more than just collection of people when a strong sense of mutual commitment creates synergy, thus generating performance greater than the sum of the performance of its individual members. So effective use of teams can enable the organization to be more responsive to customer needs, reduce the workforce by requiring fewer levels of management, reduce waste, improve quality and productivity, and leads to other positive organizational outcomes such as improved employee satisfaction and commitment, reduced absenteeism and turnover, and improved performance. Lastly, we have the cross-cultural training. The term cross-cultural training refers to a variety of different training courses. Each in essence aims to develop awareness between people where a common cultural framework does not exist. In general, cross-cultural training has two parallel approaches. First, we have cross-cultural awareness training. It deals with a manifestation of culture in the workplace and has many applications. Its main purpose is to evaluate and constructively tackle the challenges cross-cultural differences can bring to the workplace. A few examples of the courses that can illustrate the different applications of cultural awareness training are cross-cultural team building training. It will aim to raise team members' awareness of each other culturally in order to foster mutual trust, respect, and understanding, the result of which will be clearer lines of communication. Next is cross-cultural management training. It aims to equip management staff with the knowledge and skills effectively supervise a multicultural staff. Cross-cultural awareness training results in a more convivial and understanding work environment. Next is cross-cultural negotiation training. Assist negotiator involve the foreign clients or customers with whom they are discussing possible terms and conditions. Lastly, cultural diversity training. It offers HR staff support in helping them understand their responsibilities to ethnic minority staff and or look at ways of nurturing harmonious interpersonal relationships at work. Second is the culture-specific training. It is generally aimed at individuals or teams that regularly visit a foreign country or who frequently interact with overseas clients or colleagues. Such training usually focuses on areas such as values, morals, ethics, business practice, etiquette, protocol, or negotiation styles with reference to one country. This better equips participants with the key skills that will help in building successful business relationships. So, culture is the shared values, beliefs, attitude, and behaviors that a society has in common. So, culture helps shape the behavior of its people and, of course, the way organizations operate. So, employees working in a foreign country are called expatriates. To be effective expatriates need to be aware of the differences between their home culture and the host country's culture and act accordingly. An important part of the preparation for success working in a different country is training orientation in the culture of that country.